Hello everybody, Ruby Morrow here, coach of your Glass City Gliscor, bringing you today's Week 4 PPL D2 battle video. Now last week we had a dominant win over Jordinas and the Southampton Sneasels. Mamoswine, Keldeo, Charizard all came in, did what they had to do, and we pulled out a 4-0 victory. Something that I believe boils down to the preparation, and for a Week 4 battle, you can believe that the preparation was there. For Week 4, we went up against Chaosinthesky and the Boston Brelooms. His team is 1-2 and consists of Victini, Shaman, Rotom Wash, Gardevoir, Donphan, Tyrantrum, Mega Aggron, Drapion, Ambipom, and Dusknoir. Now this is a team where our matchup is a nightmare. We do not go up as well this week as we did last week, so the planning had to be done. I had a little help with everything. I kind of had a general sense of what I wanted to do, but I had to get a second opinion on a couple things. So let's move on to the team that I brought and why I brought it. First up is the Mega Charizard. Now this is a strange set. Mega Charizard is known for his physical attacking capabilities, but this week I decided to go with a special attacking set. I know just how terrifying rocks are to the team. I see that every video, every week, and I thought that this would be the week where somebody would be able to utilize rocks against me. He has a Mega Aggron, and he's led with Mega Aggron 2 out of 3 weeks coming into this battle, so I thought that he would want to do what Jordan did and paralyze or get up rocks turn 1. So I decided to bring a fully special attacking Charizard that on turn 1, if he was against Mega Aggron, and that Mega Aggron was not max special defensive, I would one-shot with an Overheat. If he was a physically defensive Mega Aggron, which I thought he would bring to match up against my Mamoswine and my Keldeo, I thought that Charizard would be able to one-shot and get the kill with Overheat. Charizard also has Roost, because Roost is my way of dealing with Victini. If that Victini wasn't choice banded, it would do less than 35% every time. So once Charizard Mega Evolves, it was my switch into Victini. Now, you might be wondering why I have Earthquake on a modest nature Charizard. Well, that's because Earthquake does more to Victini than a Dragon Pulse would, and I wouldn't be able to have a defensive or special defensive hindering nature because of Rotom Wash. Charizard played a pivotal role in this week, and I led with it. But we'll get more to that after I explain the rest of my team. Coming up next is my Cradilly. Cradilly was my lifeline. Without Cradilly, my team would have been decimated. I ran a max physically defensive Cradilly with Stealth Rock, Giga Drain, Recover, and Toxic. Now, the only thing about Cradilly was it got walled by a possible Drapion. So I knew that if he brought Drapion, I would have to switch out right away. This also goes for the Aggron, but again, my original plan was for him to lead Aggron, me kill Aggron turn 1, and not have to worry about Aggron the rest of the day. Cradilly completely walled Rotom Wash, and it was awesome. Couldn't be affected by the Hydro Pump, absolutely nothing from a Volt Switch, and it was the go-to mon. Moving on is my Flygon. Flygon is the first of 3 choice Scarfers. Now that sounds absolutely absurd, but I'll explain to you why. I needed Flygon to force Victini to be Jolly. If Victini wasn't Jolly, Flygon would outspeed and take about 95% of his health if he's not defensive. Victini could not one-shot Flygon with Glaciate if he's not modest nature. Any other investment, any other spread would not kill Flygon. The Earthquake was there to kill the Victini, to damage a special defensive Aggron, and to hit the Donphan if it would come. Now Flygon also had Defog because, it's my only way to get rid of rocks or any other hazards. Moving on to my next one I brought is my Keldeo. Keldeo is the next choice Scarfer. Keldeo was my switch into the Tyrantrum. I knew that if I saw Tyrantrum, especially if he brought it in against a Charizard, that it was scarfed. Keldeo could take one shot from a Tyrantrum and then proceed to kill it with Hydro Pump. I also have Scald on there because if he still had the Rotom Wash around, I would go for Scald, hope for a burn, and then switch out into Cradily. Keldeo unfortunately never got to see the field, but it was there, and had the match followed through, would have done a lot of good things. Moving on now to my Mamoswine, the third Choice Scarfer. Now again, 3 Choice Scarfers is just stupid. Why are you bringing 3 Choice Scarfers? I needed the 3 Choice Scarfers because I was willing to go 1 for 1. I was willing for him to kill something of mine. I come in and kill something of his. I also needed a way to kill Victini and Shaman. One of them, if you brought them both, would not be scarfed. I don't see too many people scarfing multiple things. That also follows through with his Victini and his Shaman. He had not scarfed both of them in any of his 3 matches going into this game, so I thought, why would he do it now? Mamoswine does not outspeed either of them if they're scarfed. This was strictly for a non-scarfed set. And he would one-shot either of them if they weren't scarfed. Mamoswine could also take a hit from Victini, but could not take a hit from Shaman, so you gotta take the good with the bad. Finally, I have my Choice Banded Talonflame. So I have 3 Choice Scarfers, a Choice Band, leftovers, and my Mega Charizard. Talonflame was there for the Shaman. Originally, I had thought about bringing my Gramble, but realized that Talonflame was my answer to the Shaman. I had no other real answer to Shaman because Charizard, yes, could switch in on a Seed Flare, but if I got the drop, he would outspeed me and kill me with an Earth Power, and I couldn't let that happen. So I needed a safe switch in to the Shaman, and that safe switch in was my Talonflame. Talonflame this week is perfectly genned. Actually, it's perfectly bred, but it is not messed up this time. I know I got a lot of flack last week for not having Swords Dance, although Swords Dance really wouldn't have helped. But, I don't know. That's the only thing we can talk about after a 4-0 victory, so this time I had to make sure it was up to standard. Talonflame really didn't do a whole lot in this one. It got me initiative, but other than that, not too much. Now that you know what I have and why I brought it, I'm going to talk a little bit about the match. Unfortunately, we had a DC more than halfway through the match. We were about 32 minutes in, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, I don't remember exactly, because in the heat of the moment, you don't really worry about that kind of things. But as I said, we were about 30 minutes into the match, and it was still 6-6, and for some reason, we had a disconnect. After the disconnect, we were both online, so that was strange. Like, why did the battle get dropped if neither of us lost connection? Something you just look at and you can't do anything about. But before the disconnect, I'll tell you a little bit about the match. I don't have the match. I think Chaos live recorded it, so if you want to actually watch the match, go and watch his side. I'll just tell you what I can give you my perspective on what had happened during the match, for the most part. I led with my Charizard, thinking, there's Mega Aggron, he's going to lead Aggron. But the night before the battle, I was told that Ambipom wrecks my team. And when I saw Ambipom, I was not scared, but I knew that I had trouble on my hands. So I led Charizard, hoping he would lead Aggron, but he leads the Ambipom. And this is where I make one of the only real mistakes of the match. I go ahead and I Mega Evolve my Charizard. He goes ahead and uses Fake Out and takes about 35% damage and maybe a little bit less. And it really hurt. Really hurt the team. Charizard was really crippled after that Ambipom. But he did allow me to see that he had Life Orb. So the next turn, I ran the calcs, and I knew because of my defensive investment, I would be able to live. So I decided to roost up and just see how much damage he would do to me. And he did a whole lot of damage. I then roosted up, got about halfway, and I switched into my Cradily, and what do you know, Cradily took nothing from it. So Had I switched out into Cradilly turn 1, I would have been in a better position for the rest of the match. After I brought in Cradilly, I went for Stealth Rocks. He brought in Drapion. And this is, like I said before, Drapion completely walled Cradilly, and that was the number one problem throughout the match. He went for Toxic Spikes, and I was alright with Toxic Spikes, better than Stealth Rocks, to be honest, but I knew if Charizard got poisoned, he would have a harder time to deal with the Victini, so I had to get rid of the Toxic Spikes. So I went out into my Flygon, and I thought I'd be able to scare him out. But I guess because of his investment, he knew he could take an Earthquake, a Choice Scarf Earthquake, which I guess I'm getting predictable running Choice Scarf and Flygon. But I went for the Defog, and he went for Ice Fang. Now, at the time, I was so scared and shocked, and I had no idea he'd run Ice Fang on a Drapion. But he misses the Ice Fang. Although it would not have killed the Flygon, was arguably the most important turn of the match. If Flygon would have got injured, I would not have been able to consistently switch him in and out. But after he misses the Ice Fang, I switch into my Mamoswine, knowing he's going to go for another Ice Fang, and it does nothing to Mamoswine. Now this is my shining turn. He brought in the Rotom Wash, I went for a knockoff, and I switched out into Cradilly. Cradilly walled it, and it was kind of back and forth, a three-mon shuffle between Cradilly, Charizard, and Flygon, and his Drapion, his Rotom, and actually his Gardevoir. His Gardevoir was a specially defensive set, which was surprising to me to deal with my Keldeo. He had some great preparation. I feel like I had some great preparation, so there's no surprise that we went pretty much 32 minutes without anything dying. And at the moments of the disconnects, I had a Cradillion against his, I believe I had the Cradillion against his Drapion, and I switched into the Flygon. You know, it might have been Charizard, but I knew I switched in my Flygon against his Drapion. I was expecting either an EQ or a knockoff, and I was going to kill Drapion next turn. Something was going to die in the next turn, because I was going to use Outrage. Now, I know what you're thinking. He's got Gardevoir, but he had not brought in Gardevoir on my Flygon. Gardevoir was at about half health, so an Earthquake would kill Gardevoir. If he brought in the Rotom Wash, Outrage was a two-hit kill. I outsped Rotom Wash, so after the first Outrage, had he not switched out Rotom into the Gardevoir, which would have ended my Outrage, I could have gone for Earthquake and killed the Gardevoir. I had a lot of good things going for me, but then the disconnect happened, and I was kind of like stunned for a minute. Again, this was not Chaos's fault. I kind of took a minute to kind of realize what had just happened, and all of my preparation for the battle kind of just hit me that the battle was over, and we would not be able to see the outcome of the match. Do I think I would have been able to win after the disconnect? Now that's easy for me to sit here and say, oh, I could win or oh, I could lose, because you don't really know what's going to happen. At the end of the day, it was a great match, great moves, great preparation for both of us, and it's just a shame that we couldn't see how it would turn out. Now, Chaos's team is scary. Chaos is a great guy. He did so much for me in the upcoming weeks that if I lost, then I deserve the loss. Did I want to lose? No. Let's be honest, no. It's just everything. It's just something that I wouldn't wish upon anyone ever, because it's not that I'm mad. It's just I'm not satisfied with how everything ended. At the end of the day, we decided to take a 6-6 draw. This is something that was new to me because, again, you don't really get a draw, but it's something that you have to do. Looking on to how this affects the standings, coming into this week, we are ranked 4th, and following the draw, we are still 4th. But what this does do is put us a game and a half out of first place. Sorry if I'm spoiling everything. This is more for just my explanation of the match. We're behind the Maryland Short Terrapins, which we've already lost to. The Melbourne Victory Star, which we haven't played yet. And, of course, the undefeated Wycombe Wanderers. This kind of is a problem because instead of being 1 game out of first place or 2 games out of first place, we're 1.5. Which means our wins and our losses are on a different plane than everyone else's. Other than Chaos, we are on a completely different field because, I mean, really, how many more draws are there going to be? Hopefully none. Hopefully there aren't any more, so we don't have this problem anymore, but the only thing this really affects is our KO differential and the MVP race, which I'm not too worried about. In the upcoming 3 weeks, we have 3 of the toughest battles of the season. We go up against Tampa Bay Luxrays and Manitui, who is arguably the best battler. Following that, we have the North Melbourne Kangaskhan's, which, again, travesty is phenomenal. So that match will be exciting. And then finally, the following week, we go up against the undefeated Wycombe Wanderers. It's going to be a tough 3 weeks. Do I believe we can pull 3 wins out? I do. Do I believe we can lose all 3 weeks? I do. So it'll be fun to look forward to. So thanks for watching. I'm sorry I don't have anything else to show you, but we're looking forward to bigger and better things and more PPL D2 action.